Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. It is Tuesday, the 4th of September. It's my sister's birthday. And it is yet another beautiful, cool autumnal day. And you see I have, good morning. And good morning, Joanne. I've dressed the part today because it's just a beautiful autumn day. And so I have the fisherman sweater. And good morning, Suda. Yeah, I'm just sitting here enjoying the fact that I think here it's 49 degrees this morning, and this is just my favorite weather. Today is actually a day where I have to spend my time outside, and because I literally have not done anything with my yard, and I actually live in an area where I have a maple tree in my driveway, and I've got these black walnut trees all the way around the outside of my property. And of course, because my mom was saying to me the other day, she said, well, you have so many trees on your property. And I was like, no, I have two. I have two. I have one in my drive, which I know annoys my neighbor, which, whatever. As I've said, it always amazes me, people who live in the country and are like, I don't want any trees. I'm like, but you live in like a rural area. It's 46 by you, okay. And it's, you're, but you don't like to have that. Good morning, Alex. So I don't know. So anyway, it's just kind of funny to me when people don't like that. But anyway, today's gonna be a nice day. I do seem to have my allergies are like exploding. I'm like itching and so forth. But I think that again, I was actually told a long time ago that I'm allergic to like fall, the fall molds as they call them. As the weather starts to change, that is one of the things I'm allergic to. So, good morning. We're all here. Hopefully everybody's got their coffee or their equivalent, whatever it is you're drinking, or whatever time of day it is. But ragweed. Oh, your poor dog. Oh yeah. The animals. It's so funny that you mentioned that, Joanne, because I have my sister on Labor Day. She has. I think I've mentioned this dog that she has before. She's got two dogs. She's got Boo and Francis, and she was dog sitting for another dog called Teddy. This little kind of Yorkie. Who was very, very vocal little dog. But we were mainly sitting outside because Labor Day was so beautiful here. And but her one dog, I have a picture of it, and I need to post it. It's a Boo, which is the one I said who looks like a little dachshund. Her allergies are so bad that my sister actually has her. Good morning, Pat. My sister actually had her in this little pink outfit with little pink booties. The funniest thing. Because I guess if the dog was outside running around the property, like you couldn't miss her, wherever she was. She's like, well, I want her to go outside and not be affected. But the dog was too many different things. There's a new dog in the house, and it's caged. They're watching, and then there's all these other people coming in, and Boo is already kind of a traumatized little dog, hence the name. Good morning. So Boo is, but it's the cutest little picture, but this poor dog was just like, it's like, oh my God, what's going on? So, but with the ragweed and with all the other stuff that's around, I mean, the stuff is beautiful. My sister and I went walking yesterday, and we were seeing, what is it called? A gewweed? It's something like that. We thought it was periwinkle, but it's not. It's some other kind of flower. It's a really beautiful purple flower. And, and it was also like these things that look like little daisies, but they're yellow, and they're small. There's but not really teeny small, but they're kind of this good size. And then of course the marigolds are everywhere as well. And the marigolds are the is it goldenrod or is it marigolds? Anyway, there's just you're starting to see a lot of that stuff around. So I'm very psyched for that. This has been like a spider time too, which is kind of weird. I was playing D&D yesterday with the group that I play with in England, and while we were playing, my friends Matt and Ellen had they had all of a sudden there was like this big spider in the house, and this is in Kent, this is in southeast England, and so Matt had caught it in a jar, and it was like, and I mean it was kind of had the kind of long, it was not a big hairy spider, but it was just a big spider. So many spiders all over the last 3 weeks. Yes. And it was really weird because I was talking to her about wolf spiders and some of the other spiders that we get here. We don't have too many poisonous ones in New Jersey. Brown recluse maybe, but I've not thus far, not thus far. I've not knock wood, I've not seen one in all the years I've lived here, but I do know that they do exist in New Jersey. But we have these spiders, and I'm never quite sure what they are. I know we have wolf spiders. I've seen those in the basement. And these spiders they're big, but they're not like hairy. They're like, it's like when I found dead ones, like if my cats would get them and stuff, they would be almost like rubbery. It's weird. Like their bodies were like, it had a really weird texture to their bodies. I was like, ugh. But anyway, it was one of those spiders I happened to see on the stairs, and it's about yay big. So, although jumpers are cute, well, they're cute unless they jump on you, I guess. I've had to deal with cave crickets and stuff like that as well. But this year I haven't seen any cave crickets this year, actually. This doesn't seem to be their year, but which is fine. Although I don't hate them. They're just weird, and they jump, and then you see them in the wrong spot. They look like they could be some kind of giant striped spider, but they're not. They're actually like this big. So, So anyway, it was funny after I was talking with Ellen and Matt, and they had this big spider in their house, and I was talking about it. I had a neighbor who ended up with a wolf spider in her bed. I'm like, yeah, that's not the place you want to find. You don't want to find any kind of thing in your bed. Good morning, Sam. It's good to see you. We were just talking about spiders, both in Great Britain and here in New Jersey. But because I had this massive spider last night on the stairs, but I managed to catch the spider and take it outside. So, but it was just really odd that I was just talking about it, and then all of a sudden this big spider appears in my house. I was like, ooh, that's weird. So anyway, don't know if that means anything. What in the holy tarnation is a cave cricket? Okay. Hi. Hey, and you've got your coffee. That's great. Yeah, we're all, this is it's a pumpkin spice morning here in New Jersey for sure. Okay, what is a cave cricket? A cave cricket is, I guess it's a bit like a regular cricket, but it is, they're like brown, but they have stripes on their back. And you usually find them in basements because hence the term cave. They like kind of dark, cool, humid places. I remember when I first moved into this house and I opened the root cellar doors, there was one like hanging in, and literally just the thing. Got my pumpkin spiced coffee in Yorkshire. That's great. It is definitely, Like as I said this morning when I logged on, I said I'm dressed the part today completely for this. What was it? It used to be Mr. Autumn Man, Ms. Autumn Woman. I'm definitely playing along with that, and I will be outside a lot today, so that will be nice. I'll be able to get out and enjoy this weather. But so anyway, it's I'm actually in Florida with family. Oh, okay, much needed break. It's been 3 years since I've been in the States. Nice. Okay, so you're down. So it's a little warmer down where you are than we are up here in Jersey. I would assume. I don't know. Florida usually stays warm year round. I mean, I feel like any place along this in the South. It's when I've been to when I've been to Louisiana in, what was it, March? It was late March. Yes, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back stateside. And if you can stick me in your luggage and take me back when you go back, that would be really nice. Of course you are. Yes, definitely warm, 90 degrees. Wow. Yeah, that's not my weather, but you're there visiting family and stuff, so that's a really good thing. But when I remember for my birthday, it was my 40th birthday, I had gone to New Orleans. I wanted to go there, and I went in late March, and it was still kind of cold and icky here in Jersey. It was like, that you get past the pretty snow, and then it's like that gray sludge, and it was still kind of in that mode. And I went down to New Orleans, and it was like 79 and sunny. I was like, I was sending pictures back to my coworkers, and they were sending me back pictures of their middle finger. So they weren't too excited about that. I was like, yeah, stop rubbing it in that you're on the Mississippi River somewhere, relaxing with a glass of wine in the middle of the day. So anyway. So definitely, weather is definitely on everyone's mind. The other thing that's coming up this week is I did some, as you know, every morning, those of you who, obviously, most people who are on today, I think we may have one other person who's not, doesn't always join us. I always start my morning. I'm usually up by about 5, and because I like to watch the sun come up, I have my first cup of coffee. This is my second, and I will usually sit down, and that's when I, do my grounding, my protection. That's when I connect with my guides, and I always kind of say like, okay, like what's the theme of today? What are we, what are we going to look at and what are we going to talk about? And it was really interesting because there's a lot in the theme today around trust. Because, and I was finishing, oh, by the way, people who are looking out for the Libra through Pisces readings, they are done. I just need to put, the little taglines on each of them because I forgot to write them down in advance. I was just trying to get through them. So they are ready to go on my channel and to go live. They'll go live this morning. So I will have those, and apologies for the lateness. I'm going to have to rethink with all the stuff going on. I might have to go back to doing readings like once a month or something. But anyway, we'll sort that out. I have, so the one of the things I was noticing in everybody's readings was this notion of we're not, like not now, like not, there's a lot of things that people are very anxious to move ahead with, a lot of different things, but everybody's kind of being told to wait. And we talked about this yesterday with the Pluto retrograde and, in Capricorn and some other things and the eclipses that are coming up. There seems to be this energy of, wait and see what's going to happen. And what Azrael had said to me this morning when I was doing it was he kept saying to me, don't, because there's certain things I was thinking about, a lot of stuff going on this morning, a lot of plans that I have. And I'm like, okay, how far along am I really in terms of reaching my goals or where I want to be? And good morning, Jenny. Where do I want to be? And I'm feeling like, I'm not going to get anywhere by the end of 2024. I'm feeling like I'm just, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels to some degree, even though I'm moving ahead in some areas. And literally the message I got was just like, he was just basically saying, I've told you what it's going to be. He kept using the word like obedience. Good morning. And it's, but I mean, he doesn't mean it in the sense of like but more like be obedient to what I've told you is really what he's saying. Because I don't think I have I'm thinking there must be an Enochian word for trust, but I'm not really quite sure what it is. But he keeps kind of using it that way. And the idea was that, but he kept saying that there is this fall. He keeps saying this fall. Now we're not to fall yet, technically, even though it feels like it. September, like I haven't gotten the exact date of the equinox. I meant to look that up yesterday and I have not. But it seems like in actual autumn that there's going, he refers to them as earthquakes. He uses the term gizyaks, which refers to earthquakes. But he's not meaning I know some of us around here have had some literal earthquakes, especially in the area that I live. It's kind of weird that, and they're not major. I mean, the most major one I think was a 4.4, but they're like a lot of little tremors. And I know people around here have been feeling them and posting about them. So, but we're not, September 22nd this year. Great. Okay, cool. Thank you. Alex going to have her ephemeris out and checking for us or yes, thank you. I appreciate that check. So yes, New Hampshire, too weird. So it's, yeah, so I don't know. So we're going to, so we're in this space where he keeps talking about earthquakes, but he doesn't, but I don't think he means, awesome. I don't think he means, that there's going to be, he's not talking about literal earthquakes. Like, there's not going to be literal flood, fire, earthquake. I mean, I don't know. There can always be natural disasters, but I feel like what he means is that there's going to be shakeups. And certainly, as I mentioned yesterday, with the eclipses that are coming in, it does feel like there's going to be shakeups again. There's going to be, stuff happening that is, that everything that we think is going on right now and what we think we're on track for by the end of the year, whether that's, again, if we're happy where we are, it could be a little unsettling, but nonetheless, whatever's coming through, it's all going to be getting rid of things, or it may, what he kind of suggested is on a more global scale or on a broader scale anyway, that there could be some kind of, we've talked about how we've transitioned into a new, kind of a time shift into this new space where, as we said, there was a huge difference between like June and July and then moving into August. It just feels like we've been suddenly shifting and, the reality that we had is not the reality we're in. Well, again, with this Capricorn energy, it does feel like there could be a pushback of that old energy again. But he said, don't worry, he said there may be that, and people may become afraid and go, oh no, things are gonna, turn upside down, or they're gonna be, or we're going to be doomed, or something's going to happen that is going to, whatever our fear is. There may be the idea that this fear may be stoked by something that happens, but he said not to be afraid. I was talking to actually my friend Louise the other day, because we haven't had a catch up in ages. I'd stayed with her down in Kent back in 2021, and I've visited her like maybe once or twice since. But I'd stayed at her place for a month. And she was talking today, because we were talking about some of the things going on in the UK. Like they were having a lot of those anti-immigration kind of riots that were popping up for that period of time. And she said, that was, I don't know, but for someone who never dreams, yours have been whack. Yeah, well, it's interesting. Yeah, so somebody's trying to get a message through to you there if you're dreaming quite a bit. But what she was saying about these riots was, she had said, she says it puts up, because what people aren't seeing is that, for all the people who came out to, with this kind of anti-immigrant, intent to vandalize, intent to destroy, which I don't know if you're not in the UK, I don't know how much of that was on the news here, but there was a lot of rioting over the last month it was supposed to be over. It was a murder of a girl, and it was supposedly an illegal immigrant who did it or something. And so then all of a sudden there became this wave of anti-immigration sentiment in the UK, and where it was just very scary for a lot of people who were living there. So it was. So anyway, but she had said she thought the good thing about it was that when these protests went on, she says, yeah, you might have 4 of them, and then you'd have 600 other people coming out against them. She says, because that's not who we are. We're not people who are, we don't actually hate immigrants. We're not, that's not our values. We don't have that. That's what she was saying. I mean, and she's somebody like, she wants to get out of the UK. She wants to like move to Spain. And I'm like, well, I'll just move into your house, and then we'll call it even. But that's what she was saying to me. She just said, yeah, it's really, it's just really one of those things where you have this terrible thing that happens. You have this kind of rioting and this kind of violent kind of activity that flares up. But it's almost like the idea of like the sickness that you're now able to see. Like that's part of the thing that Pluto does. It creates that shadow. It's like we are able to now confront what's been going on. Okay, we're able to confront where there's been hatred, where there's been fear, where there's been suppression. Okay, we're able to actually confront it and do something about it. So that's kind of the energy that he's talking about with this eclipse. Like there could be a surge of something. He's like, but just trust me when I say this does not mean, oh, everything's terrible and it's going to be doomed. Like whatever it is, it's like almost like a last gasp of something, which does fit in a lot with Pluto and Capricorn. And what the energy of that is, because it's almost like this old way of doing things, this old order is like, trying to push itself up for like the last time, and that's going to kind of be it. So that's definitely the energy that I've had. One of the cards that came up for me pretty strongly this morning was this version of the Emperor in the Osho Zen, and that is the Rebel card. Okay, and the Rebel, you see, is about breaking chains, and just kind of this individual who's holding up their flame and kind of like flowering into all this color. So yeah, exactly. It's this idea of it's a different. Again, we tend to look at the Emperor card, I think, in more traditional decks as sometimes we look at it as, especially if you're female, you might look at it as almost a more patriarchal kind of energy, but not really. The Emperor is more about. I mean, it is definitely more rational, intellectual in the way that it is, but it's also fire. It's Aries energy, so it's got this element of Yang energy. It's this sense of acting, illusion is breaking down, truth surfacing. Yes, exactly. And yeah, and there was a lot of cards, especially in Pisces reading. I think it was Pisces, and it was is it Aquarius also? But I was seeing a lot of Seven of Cups energy, which is almost like trying to figure out what's real and what's not. That's since my son wants to be an emperor when he grows up. Okay. That's I guess depending on where your empire is, right? I know it's just like, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting because I don't know. I feel like actually, weirdly, I think the idea of empire is probably going away. I feel like that's one of the shifts that we're having here. But this is like, this gives a different sense of the emperor. It's somebody who's rebelling against Thoth. Lies be told, truths unfold. Yeah, it's there's this energy here of rebellion against a system where action is actually not being used as an oppressive force, but rather action is being used as a liberating kind of force, So, and certainly two of the cards that I had gotten today, let me see if I still have them on the top here. I mean, yeah, we also had the Two of Swords show up here. This, they call this the schizophrenia card, but what they're really saying is, it's not really truly what schizophrenia is, but it's the idea of one that's somebody who's split. There's a split between, in this case, it's a split between the head and the heart. It's almost like we're two different people operating. There's the one that's logical, rational, and then there's the one that the heart says something else, and and the two of them are at odds with each other. And eventually, this is a kind of energy when we look at the change card here, the Wheel of Fortune. It's like, okay, this is when everything gets dropped, like whatever's dropping in, it's that, and of course we've also got Uranus retrograde in Taurus as well. So I think there's a connection to all of this kind of energy, and so in other words, I'm seeing for a lot of people. Okay, I feel like I'm just throwing words out here randomly. What I'm seeing for a lot of people is, people are very concerned about their progress with things. Disassociation. Well, disassociation, yeah, and the idea that there is kind of two different things. They use the word schizophrenia on this card. I don't know that they're using it particularly accurately, but I think that's the idea that they're trying to get, is that there's a disconnect between the head and the heart. And so what I think I'm trying to say here is that there's been this suppression. All of us had this suppression, and right now we may feel like we've been trying to move ahead with things and it's not happening, or it's been promised. Like we talked about this the other day. I feel like, I think it was Joanne, you had said something like, I feel like I'm waiting forever, and being told to wait some more. But I don't know. So whatever's coming up this fall, I literally, it keeps coming over and over again. Just this fall, don't, things are shifting this fall. And I continually get from Azrael, like every morning, like, trust me. I'm not, don't fall into this other mindset that says that, that questions it or is skeptical of it. And one of the interesting things about this, and I was saying this about, this Piscean energy that we're going to have with this lunar eclipse, and then we have this Libra energy with the solar eclipse. And interestingly, by the way, the solar eclipse is the day I'm starting my school. It starts on the solar eclipse, which is not something I planned, but that's how it worked out for all the faculty to do that. So it's going to be that's going to be very interesting. But I feel like the school itself is, because when I think about solar eclipses, to me that is like in this particular deck I have, the Black Moon deck, the solar eclipse card is a card of revolution. And so, yeah, we're definitely starting a revolution here. We want to look at things in a new way. We don't want to be. The whole point is to not follow the old scripts. We want to do the new thing. So there's definitely this long sense of like, trust us, the work that you're putting in is not in vain. There's been a lot of Seven of Pentacles energy too, of like, is this futile? Am I chasing after something that's never going to get anywhere? And the thing is, there's going to be changes, and these are going to be very, very big changes. They're not, it's something that's going to be happening not just in our individual lives. And whatever's changing is going to, like I keep seeing the word opening. Things are going to really open up. Things that don't feel like they're open right now. So there definitely is this sense of trust that in the fall that that the shifts that need to happen are going to happen. So yeah, so I've been getting that message very, very strongly. I thought today, I was looking at my my cards today, and I thought it might be a good day for some Uncle Al. I have my Crowley Thoth deck, and I thought I would pull some cards from this one, because we launched Inside the Sacred Circle during a retrograde. We joke and say it's always retro inside the Sacred Circle. Was it Mercury retrograde that you launched it during? Because I know you guys sometimes tend to have those. It seems like there's always these technical problems that like crop up like right at the beginning sometimes, and so I'm like, yeah, that would be that. Yes, okay. So it's just kind of like, hey, we're going to start everything with some technical issues. So, I mean, yeah, I mean that happens a lot, and especially depending on the platforms you're using. It's there can be miscommunications. I remember the first one we did, there was some miscommunications about, or the time was wrong about when it was starting, so we couldn't actually get in, and we had to switch to another platform. And yeah, it can get complicated. And StreamYard is one of those that I find takes up a lot of energy. Like I think the last one I did with you on Blog Talk, yes. That my computer slows down, so I always call it like the Starsky and Hutch thing. You know, you just kind of stop and you're moving very slowly. It's really probably any 70s TV show. Like at the end, they always have that freeze frame at the end. That's what I always feel like. So it was a yeah. So that's what I always find with StreamYard. This is probably Apple trying to push me into getting a new computer, but I refuse. So anyway, so let's. Speaking of, though, I do need to update the software. I'm always nervous about doing that. Okay, so let's just see what the Uncle Al deck has for us today, and let's see what we have that comes up. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I have a stream runs off of Droid Base. Oh, okay. Yeah, because Jenny, who's on here, she'd actually bought me a small version of this deck, but I keep that one in my purse. I have the big one right here. Okay, oh wow, this is interesting. Okay, so our cards are the Princess of Discs, okay, and we have the Three of Swords, and then we have what Crowley calls the Lust card. Okay, this is his version of Strength, and he makes this for him. This is card 11 rather than card 8. And I don't know. So just kind of looking at this right off, yeah. I mean, Princess of Discs. There's our Capricornian energy, right? And we have the Three of Swords. So there's this kind of separation from that. But the separation can bring some kind of sorrow. It can bring some kind of there's a need to heal from what we're leaving behind, because even things that we may be leaving behind that are no good for us, we may still feel we may still feel a sense of loss, or we may still feel a sense of being lost because we don't know what direction we're going in, and we may want to try to go someplace where we want to be safe. It would be safer to go back and do it the old way. Whatever the old way is in this particular case, whether this has to do with job, finances, relationship, family, whatever it is. I'm not making a statement about, because where that Capricornian energy is sitting is going to be different for different people. It's generally associated with the 10th house, and again, Saturn ruled, so there's this idea of persistent, slow, but steady progress. And it may simply be a case where we want to move very, very slowly with something, or we want to make a change, but we're like, well, I want to have, I want to have all these things secure before I make that change. And I find that when this kind of energy kind of rips through, it's just like, nope, we're just going to rip through, we're just going to rip away, and this can leave us feeling like we're disconnected, or it can leave us feeling that way. But when you have this Lust card here, okay, which is kind of this idea of I guess Babylon and the beast here. But really what this is talking about is the Lust card is about. Well, first of all, in Crowley's estimation, this would have been about doing what you're passionate about. But it also has to do with it's like I said, it's a card of strength. It's the card of having the strength to step into your own power, to be who you are, to do what it is that you want to do. And yeah, and I mean, we've got this Three of Wands energy here. This is, they call this the card of virtue. This is this is about, there's this three energy. So this is not about going it alone. This is about working with other people. It's not about feeling that you're alone. Yeah, walking away from the old way. We have the Eight of Cups here. Not doing things the same way. This is the message over and over again. Because I feel like as we are moving through these changes, and as we are retrograding back and looking at where we've been, I think we're kind of we're in this space where we want to, where we're afraid to, you know, we know that there's a change coming. But a lot of times I think too, when okay, like if I do a reading for somebody and it's like, great, you have this bright new beginning coming, people go, awesome, new beginning, this is great. But the thing is, a lot of times we think that new beginning, it's kind of like when we start out on a new spiritual path. Everything's awesome. We have a blissful experience. We have something that happens that makes us go, wow, I have this big, great aha moment. But then after that moment's over, now it's like, oh, okay, well, now's the work. It's like wagon training it out west and then saying, yay, I've arrived in the place. Okay, now I got to build the house. Okay, now I've got to negotiate the new wildlife and the new, you know, the new things that might be dangers, or, you know, where I'm going to be able to get the things that I need to survive, and so on and so forth. It's like when you're pioneering in that sense, when you are moving into new territory, it's always a scary thing because, you know, yes, you will have arrived, but now that you've arrived, now you've got to build something new where you've arrived. And it's basically saying, you know, there's a lot here around doing things that are closer to the heart space and not, I feel like Capricornian energy a lot of times is very focused on, well, you need to make as much money as possible and you need to have more than the other guy. What was the old expression in the 80s? Whoever dies with the most toys wins, you know, kind of thing. Excuse me. Ooh, somebody didn't like that. And then everything kind of in pieces having to puzzle up. Yeah, and trying to, yeah, exactly. And trying to feel, you know, so we have this, this Capricornian energy can just be about like, well, I have to work 80 hours a week, and we spend all of our time working to build up this massive retirement, and then people never retire. You know what I mean? It's just like work. And it's not necessarily that you're working at something that is, like it's something that is a great passion to you. It's just something you're doing. It's like, okay, well, this is how I make money. And again, there's nothing wrong with a job to make money. Nothing wrong with that at all. But when it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is actually oppressing me and my life force and everything that means something to me, then it's like, okay, well, something really needs to change. And this may be part of these shifts. Maybe some people are going to be, maybe things have been moving along well financially, and then maybe all of a sudden it may feel like, oh, there's a shakeup with that. And that may be part of this too. And so people may feel like, oh, you know what, maybe I shouldn't venture. Maybe I should go back and, you know, just what people like to call a real job. You know, you've ever hear that? Oh, you got to get a real job. A lot of what people are doing when they're pioneering in new areas, with all my eavesdropping husband is like, she's right. Thank you. Thank you for that validation. But there's this, so at what point do you, I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting all of your energy into something that really means something to you, whatever that is for you. I don't want to suggest that it's always a business or a job or starting a channel or starting a thing. Like it's not, that's obviously not what it is for everybody. Some people it's just spending more time with their children, or it could be just having enough quality of life. Like with me, I would love to have it be a thing where it's like, okay, maybe I'm 6 months here and 6 months in the UK, and I'm able to just do that. Your hubster like, oh, I have fans among the spouses. My husband does the same thing. Yeah. It's interesting because that's the thing. We're kind of moving into this space where whatever it is you're going to dedicate your time and energy into. So everybody's partners are listening in and saying, oh yeah, what's she saying over there? That's kind of funny. But we're kind of moving into this space where we are, where we have to now think more about where do we actually want to be? What do we want to do? And again, just like with pioneering, you're leaving the city behind. You're leaving the place behind where everything was comfortable and you had everything that you needed and it was convenient. And you may be moving into a space where it's like, okay, I can't do this the way I did it before. I have to figure out another way. Yours is sleeping. Well, you know, and I don't blame him. I don't blame Greg. It is actually quite early. But I'm going to be out in another hour mowing the lawn. So following our purpose. Yeah. Or what we think of, even if we want to think of it outside of, I think a lot of times we feel comfortable with the idea that we have a mission or a purpose. Probably in the broader perspective, when I think of like Joseph Campbell, he'll say, well, life doesn't really have a meaning, it just is. But where we feel the things that we have, whatever we have to offer, where we fit into that big picture, and where we fit in a way that we feel like we're flourishing, that we're happy. I don't think people really know how to be happy. You know, I don't think they do. We have moments and we have glimpses of what we think of as happiness. And it's one of the reasons that you see in Buddhism and things like that they talk about temporality. And they say, well, temporality is not, that's not the place to find happiness in temporal things. And again, people oftentimes misinterpret that and say, oh, well, that means the material world is bad. And I'm like, no, I don't think it's saying that. I don't think it's saying that enjoying the things of life is bad. It's just that you don't spend your time. Yeah, we're focused on the mundane. We're focused on stuff that is not part of who we are. If we go to a certain job every day, it's not that you can't find pleasure and enjoyment in a job. You know, you can take pride in a job that you do. But oftentimes when you're working for somebody else, well, Jenny, you're on here, and yeah, you can definitely understand. We both worked in jobs. Well, actually, the first time I went into my career, I really enjoyed what I did. Over time, I stopped enjoying it. I hated it. And because I remember Jenny used to work really, really long hours. It would be like, well, you know, I'm supposed to work 7 to 3, but I've got a ton of overtime to do because we have a database that's got to go up, or we've got this upgrade that's happening, or, you know, I just remember all of that stuff. And after a while, it's just like, when you talk about it and you talk about it with your friends and stuff, it's like, you know, it's just really soul crushing. And you're just like, okay, this is draining me of all my energy. But because we have a certain Capricornian work ethic that says, oh, it's one you have passion for. When that fades, it's hell. Yeah, exactly. You don't mind putting the hours in when it's something that you're like, you're just totally into it. This is what you want to do. When you're not, then it's just like, oh God, I got to get up and do this again. And that's where I think this shift is coming in. But we may be going through a period, briefly at least, where we feel like, you know, we may question that. We may say, well, maybe it is better to go back and do things this way. But again, everybody's different. I think this is why, especially when I'm coaching people, it's kind of like, okay, everybody needs to kind of sit down and figure out, like, who are you? What's authentic to you? I'm just listening. I'm wondering if the heat's finally turned on in the house. Hasn't had I have it turned down really low, but I'm like, how cold has it gotten that the heat might be turning on? Because I'm hearing like the little clinks of the thing. Anyway, that's an aside. But I think, yeah, we've got. I think we're kind of moving into a space here. 47. Oh, it's 47 by you. Oh, okay. It's okay. Yeah, it was roughly 49 when I checked earlier, but it could be that cool. Anyway, I feel like I'm so umming a lot here. We're moving into this space where we are, where the first thing that people are being told to identify is, what is it you really want to be doing with yourself? Like, if you had no limitations, okay, if you could break out, if you had no limitations, how would you prefer to be spending your time? And and the thing is, when people say, oh, well, I'd rather just be like on an island somewhere, like enjoying the beach. Okay. But the thing is, but it's also like, well, what would you? Would you be happy just sitting there? Because a lot of times people will do that, but then they're still on their phone and they're still doing other things, or they're still thinking about what has to be done at home. There's always something, especially those of us who maybe have more of generator types, it's like they always want to be doing something. And so it's kind of like to Joanne's point about purpose, like what we always feel like we need to be doing something purposeful. And maybe part of that lesson too is to learn to do things that are not purposeful, like just be able to sit on a beach and enjoy things. But what's involved in getting that? And so I say it's not even just about I want to break and I want to live. You may have an idea, oh, I want to live in a certain place or I want to do a certain thing. But what are you doing with yourself? People who retire often find that. They retire and then they're like, oh, okay, well, what am I going to do now? Some people like to travel. Some people don't know what to do now that they're not doing the day-to-day job. Yeah, being present in the moment's a lost art. Yeah, we don't know how to do it. We really don't. We talk a lot about it, but as I said, that's why words don't really mean as much as experiencing it in the body. Now, our centric card for today here is the Thunderbolt card. Okay, it's literally what I'm talking about. This is Tower energy. This is Uranus energy. Okay, this is the thunderbolt that's going to come in, and that's kind of what we're talking about here with this. What I've been talking about. There's Pluto in Capricorn. We are, and this is for the last time. For probably hundreds of years. It's going to be, it's saying, okay, this old way of doing things is collapsing, and recognize that it's collapsing. Inner feeling of which we're unaware, again, it's allowing us to see the connection. This is the Ten of Pentacles. And that also gets to purpose, because this is a card of legacy. This is a card of what I'm going to offer the world. Okay, it's my legacy. What do what do I have to give to people? What of my talents or of who I am or of what makes me, as the one deck of cards says, what makes your heart sing, what makes your soul sing, like what is that thing? And when I'm working with people, I'm like, that's the first thing you want to try to identify, and it's not always easy to identify. A thunderbolt has come in personally, ready to clean up the aftermath. Yeah, well, that's it. And it's happening at different times for different people. Some of it might be dependent on your chart, might just be dependent. Everybody's circumstances are different. That's why it's hard to make a generalization about when things are going to hit. But so this is what we're unaware of. And again, it all goes back to not only what do we have to offer, but what do we have to offer as far as community goes? How are we going to work together instead of having all of this tribal being against each other, which is where we've been. One of the negatives of capitalism is it becomes like who's competitive, who's going to be at the top, and it's every human for themselves, potentially every man for themselves, right? Who's going to be the one who's going to be on top? We have a billionaire class, and and everybody else is kind of in the other 1%. Who's going to how are we going to balance things out? How are we focused on the collective rather than just the individual? And the external feeling of which we're aware, well, we have our guides. We have the guidance card. So, yeah, it seems to be, I think a lot of them, certainly people who are watching this probably, but there's this sense of now we are being guided in the right direction. In the midst of this change, we're being guided. And interestingly, okay, I've got 3 major arcana in a row. If you could, I wish I could turn this down and let you see it. But beneath this, so I have these 2 on either side. And that's the Ten of Pentacles and the 3 of Pentacles. We've got the Tower in the center. And then at the root, we've got Temperance. Literally what I just said, integration. Finding a space for everything. Not only finding what we authentically want to do, but how are we going to make it work in our day-to-day life, dealing with the practical things, okay? Integration. How are we integrating things? And ultimately, again, it's interesting that we have the Lovers as the outcome. So the Lovers, it can, like I said, can be about love. And for some people, maybe it is. Maybe part of it is maybe someone like myself who's been single for ages. Maybe it's going to be about finally finding something that is for real. I was talking to maybe it was my sister the other day. She was saying how she just didn't feel that she's the expectations a lot of times people have with marriage. And she said, and then she goes, here I am, because she's been married 41 years, and she's just like yeah. She says it's nothing like what I would have expected when I started. But this is more about real love, about real connection. And this doesn't just have to be between people who are in love with each other. This can just be, it screams balance. Yeah, it does. It's this, I know the Lovers is Gemini energy. I know the Lovers can sometimes represent having to choose between things. Not in this deck so much. This is more about discovering what does it mean to love and love unconditionally. And we were talking about that actually in the intuitive development class, because they were talking about when certain levels that need to be healed are healed with they're healed with a type of unconditional love, where you're willing to accept people instead of saying like, okay, there's conditions, and once you violate these conditions, screw you, you're gone, you're done. Now again, that's not I'm not advocating that people don't set boundaries for themselves that are appropriate. But sometimes we can get very, very frustrated with people. We don't have a lot of patience with people, and that oftentimes comes out of life experience of people who maybe they don't deserve our patience, you know. But yeah, so I've got down the center here. Let me see if I can hold this up for you appropriately. So we've got this center column of 3 major arcana. We've got the Tower, Temperance, and the Lovers. So yeah, something's breaking down here, and we're trying to get to a space of balance and a space of love, a space of caring about each other, not a space of enjoy the calm. This storm was sudden and pervasive. You're still working on finding your birth time. So when things come in, they can come in very, very suddenly, and it's going to affect everybody differently. Embracing the masculine and feminine energies within. Yes, there's definitely this balancing, but I think also too, when we talk about balance and integration, it's a lot of times we think, oh, there's one half of this and one half of this. It's, as I said, it's something dynamic. It's that Leminskit, it's that figure 8. It's like these are energies that kind of dance with each other. They're not, it's not so much that, oh, well, I've done this many active things, so now I'm going to do this many passive things. They work together. They're intermeshed. You're not seeing the separation between them. Right now, we're looking at them as separate things. I did pull, we are just about at the end of the live stream, but I did pull a couple of essential oil cards. So helichrysum is our first oil, okay? And the key word is hope. And the trigger statement is, I will not forget. The true statement is, I open my heart. Release the suffering and take another step forward. With each step, you will see more light and more healing, okay? That fits in with the love theme, certainly. And so I will not forget that, again, that we've been seeing a lot about the past too, right? The idea that, and you know, there are a couple Taurians on here. Actually, it's probably at least 3 of us. No, 4 of us. When you're a Taurian, it's like, you know, it's the idea of, yeah, I forgive, but I don't exactly forget. There's going to be a place. And the fact that we don't forget, that's what breeds that kind of distrust. You know, it potentially can do that. Now, neroli is our other oil, and the key word is unity. Then Jenny just said that. The trigger statement is, I'm unstable. The true statement is, I am aware. It says, you are strengthening the connection between your energetic and physical bodies to help you manifest your goals. So that's interesting. So yeah, there's this idea of, and we talk about that in Rahani as the really the 4 minds, and the 3 minds and the 4 bodies. 4 bodies are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, all in alignment with each other. And the conscious mind, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious also in line with each other. When everything's kind of out of balance with each other, I think the Rahani is where I will find that last piece. Yeah, Rahani is, it's a very, everybody gets what they need, let's put it that way. People who I think are, you know, maybe in a more raw space where they, you know, where the energy needs to be gentle with them, I think it will manifest as something a bit more gentle. I have seen that. But for people who are just like, that's it, I'm ready to do the work, I'm ready to get going, Rahani comes in and they're like, okay, we're coming in and we're doing the work. So it definitely has that effect, and it's like a fast track to trying to get into that space. So so Rahani definitely does. But again, I always say that I'm not necessarily looking to scare people off who are saying, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for all of this stuff. And I'm like, well, you might be more ready than you think. And if you are ready, you're certainly going to be drawn to doing it. So, Rahani shines a light on the bravado. And it shines a light on a lot of things. It's just, I think initially, like, you'll start with this kind of very joyful sensation, but then again, depending on who you are, it can, like I said, some people it manifests in dreams or nightmares. Some people it's just memories that come up. Some people it might be, it's going to point out to you like, hey, here's where you're stuck. Here's where you're stuck. Let's clear this out. Let's transform this. Where are we stuck here? And Rahani seems to be very personal and unique, but it's persistent overall. Yeah, it is. And right. And it's not going to be the same thing. That's why I can't go into a session and say, oh, this is what's going to happen to you. it's going to be different. My heart center is what keeps coming up, and I don't know what possibly more can I readdress. Well, if we're not feeling that sense of centeredness, then a lot of times that's a sign that there is something there. It feels like there's always things to be worked on, because even if it's not about this lifetime, there's others. And the thing is, you got to remember too, you can't always consciously work on things. We can. Doing this kind of work, it's a lifelong work, right? Heart work. It's and because it's heart work, because it's more in the realm of the feminine, transmute energies that are no longer needed. Yeah, right. It's that because it's heart work, it's not something that you can intellectualize. We can say, oh, okay, I've identified this thing and I'm going to take these steps. It doesn't necessarily work like that. It's like you're allowing yourself to open up energetically. You're allowing the heart to open so that it can, vomit out or whatever it is it's going to get rid of. A lot of people feel that. They feel like it comes up and they're like, oh, something's like coming up and coming out. Uncovering the known, which is unknown, which is just incredible. Yeah, or the things that we've forgotten about, the things that are lost within us. And sometimes, in some cases, things that may not even have to do with other lifetimes, with other versions of our soul, with other things where we may be fragmented. And Brahani brings that up. Absolutely brings that up. So anyway, we are past time. Literally, they've just come and picked up my recycling. So I'm like, oop, we're getting close to 8 o'clock. So everybody, thank you so much for joining me. This is fun. I mean, I love it when we have everybody's here and we can have this conversations. I find myself as I'm responding to people, I feel like I hope the people who are watching this like on YouTube are not like, okay, she just keeps getting interrupted and saying things, but that's just, it's just the nature of it. So, the reading really hit it in the right spot. Yeah, that's right. It's it definitely, there definitely seems to be a reinforcement of what's going on with the energies. You guys are also very welcome, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you soon. Take care.